What's up, everybody? Welcome back. We're doing a mock draft today. And if I am correct on this one, we're drafting from the 14th spot. NFL's quickly coming. We're excited about it. We wanted to get you guys a couple early drafts. We did one super early. Now, as the days are winding down, we wanted to do another one here. This is going to be a half point PPR, so zero point 0.5 per catch. And then I know that Taco, you're going to lead us away. So who are we liking for that first spot, or is there anything specifically before we start that mock draft that you want to kind of let them know about?
I mean, pretty much you touched on everything. We're doing a 14 team league, point 0.5 PPR setup. This is our first mock draft of the year. Our first actual draft of the year came earlier. We have it on YouTube, so if you want to go check it out, definitely go and see our first draft. It came out pretty good. We got a good ranking on it. We were a B. They had us finishing in the top half with some good upside. This is going to be a little bit of a different perspective, though, because that was a 12-team league, and this is going to be a 14-team league. So this is a much bigger player or owner selection, which means it's going to be a little bit harder once we're getting down to the nitty-gritty, those later rounds, where your players are really going to become even more valuable just because the waiver wire isn't going to be as deep. Like you said, we are starting from the 14th spot. So we're going to randomize it and we're going to see who's on the board for us. So this is all being done live, real time, no reverts. And I'm going to guarantee that we're going to be a B plus or better. So
Guaranteeing B plus or better.
without knowing anything that's happening in this draft and knowing that I'm taking the 14th spot. So
And I think that does give a lot of people confidence to be able to understand that just because you're drafting that far back doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be out of the game. B plus, I mean, you can win with a C. So I know I squeezed into a championship game, my first championship game a couple years ago, and it was really picking up. The waiver wire was big for me. So I think a lot of things shape up in your draft, but your waiver wire in football specifically is so key. Is so key.
oh yeah, just like in any league, and this is an interesting setup here because definitely have two picks back to back that we could take here. This is zero point 0.5 per catch, so with it being a 0.5 per catch, not being a 1 point per catch league, and only needing two wide receivers, I am gonna take a wide receiver with my next pick because wide receivers. Okay, and we'll do a little quick close up. Wide receivers in football are just like outfielders in baseball. Okay, or starting pitchers in baseball. There's going to be a lot of them that are going. Not all of them are going to be good. Not all of them are going to hit. But there's a ton of them that are just going to be on the field to get opportunity. We're seeing a lot of teams going with 2 and 3 wide receiver sets. Right. However, bell cow running backs in the NFL, especially those that catch passes, are very rare. And these are the cream of the crop. These are the precious jewels that in the early part of the draft, you want to get them, even if you want to maybe go with the catch, even if you think Julio Jones is a little bit better, or some of these guys that we see on the board, like Godwin, like Julio, like the guys that experts are predicting.
You want to leave those to be more like
I'm going to leave these guys on the board. I love Julio. Julio's finished in the top 3 in wide receivers in both of the last 2 years. He is a consistent quarterback in Matt Ryan behind him. He has all of that going for him. And what I'm going to say is I'm going to pass on a guy like Julio Jones right here because I see the upside of these 2 running backs right here. Josh Jacobs, who I really like, and Miles Sanders, who I absolutely love. Both of these running backs are going to be set up to be ball dominant. You have Miles Sanders, who's a great pass catching running back that doesn't look like he has anyone else that he's going to be competing for or competing with in the backfield. And then you have Josh Jacobs, who is a workhorse over there in Oakland, who they're talking about. They want to get him more involved in the passing game, which is, and as well as him being a physical runner down near the goal line, which is going to open up his scoring possibilities. So I'm actually going to take both of these guys, and I'm going to take Miles Sanders first because I think Miles Sanders has top 3 potential this year as far as running backs are concerned. I think he is an absolute stud. If you're gonna now tell me here, it's Drake or Jacobs. This is tough, but I think I'm gonna take Jacobs just because I really think that Gruden and Jacobs really can do some good things. Jacobs was out for a little bit of time last year. He missed about 3 games. So I'm banking with taking these 2 running backs that I'm going to get some pass catchers coming back because, like I said, wide receivers are very heavy in the NFL. Looking at right
And here's
now.
the thing. I like that we really try to give you guys a little bit of an over analysis of each one of the and a player breakdown on the running backs, not just running backs, but every position when we're up drafting. Because if you looked at some of the baseball drafts that we did live, there was a couple that were auto drafted because we kind of overanalyze sometimes on some players, and we try to do that ahead of time for you guys. That's why we draft from so many different spots.
Mhm,
So I like when we try to give you guys as much information as possible, kind of like Taco's doing right now.
mhm, mhm. And I think just understanding the players that one that you have available to you at your particular spot in the draft, and then two, kind of understanding what you see coming up and what you can get down the road to understand where you need to put your value and your emphasis is. Because
Right.
right now, if you take a look at the board, and I'm going to pull it up for everyone right here, you have a couple of wide receivers here. Calvin Ridley, who is the number 2 with Julio Jones. You're not going to take both of them. I love Calvin Ridley's upside this season. You're talking about a guy that has, going into his 3rd year. He's a big target in the red zone. He's going to be playing on a high-powered offense over in Atlanta. You know that they're gonna throw the ball with Matt Ryan, and he's a guy that I really like this year. You're looking at Robert Woods, who plays like a number 1 wide receiver over there in the Rams. Okay, and you have some other guys available. Then if you look at the running backs, you have David Johnson, who I like. I think he's solid, but he's also a bit of a risk. When you look at how he's been hurt the last couple of years and the numbers that he's put up, are you really, really ready to risk it? And you have Mark Ingram, who's a really good running back, but is he a 3-down running back? Is he someone that you really want as your number 2 running back? That's not necessarily bad. I love Montgomery here. Montgomery here is a real stud, but it's a little bit of a reach for me to take him right here. So when I look at it for my position, it actually worked out really good for me that I'm able to take a guy like Ridley, who expert consensus rank is about 36, ADP about 42, so we put him roughly in this spot. And then here, Woods, expert consensus rank 38, ADP is about 58 because the average person is a little lower on Woods, where the experts are really more heavily into Woods because of what you see, what he's put up over the last couple of years, what he does with Jared Goff. Last year,
That's what I was going to say. I was going to actually bring up that Ricky's really not, from the last time we had a conversation, not really big on golf, right? So is that going to play into, what?
let's look at it like this. You have right here in this draft, you have Woods and Kupp, who are considered 2 top 20 wide receivers, and a Sean McVay offense, which we already know is going to be high powered. And with them getting rid of Gurley, it sets it up where even if you're not the biggest believer in golf, he's just going to get the sheer number of pass attempts to make up for any deficiencies. And where golf is going to have the problems with maybe the turnovers or not producing enough, Woods is going to be his number 1 target that he's going to be looking to. So at the lowest level, he's going to be a wide receiver 2 with golf sucking. If golf goes good, he's a wide receiver 1, and he severely outplays this position. So here, I'm actually going to go back-to-back on wide receivers, taking Calvin Ridley and Woods.
You like Woods over Kupp?
Yeah, I like Woods over Kupp because when we saw the tight end that came in, Tyler Higbee, he was really taking away from Cooper Kupp in the second half of the season. Cooper Kupp started off as one of the hottest wide receivers for about the first 9 weeks of the year, but that second half, he really tailed off, and that's when Higbee, the tight end, really started to show up. He's a guy that I like in full point PPR as a solid tight end. Tight end is a position.
And I did notice that really tight end. I mean, I feel like tight ends, there's only a couple really good ones, and then everybody tailors off. So in that draft spot, seems like you've just kind of let that one fall off because if you're not getting.
Well, to be honest with you, I think that there's a couple of good tight ends. Honestly, Darren Waller is the guy that I got last year in almost like one of my last picks, and he was a monster for me, a monster. Higsby was on the waiver wire for most of the year, and then it ended up coming through and having a hot second half, last 5 games, where he made a name for himself that he's up to the 7th tight end on the board. And then when you're looking at Evan Ingram from the Giants, I think that he has the potential, if he ever stays healthy, to be a dynamic pass catcher over there. So I do like some of the tight ends that are later on. Hunter Henry, I think you can do a lot worse than having a guy like Hunter Henry in there. Hayden Hurst has some decent upside over there in Atlanta because we know Matt Ryan likes to use his tight end, and they had lost Austin Hooper. So there's a couple of tight ends that I like
So
as
we
we go
always
a little
fall
bit
back
deeper
on.
here.
Okay.
So that's why I can wait on it. And I think that, like I was saying before, if we look at a situation where Jared Goff hits and he outperforms what a lot of people think he might do, which or it just performs to the level he did 2 years ago, then Robert Woods is a steal. And if you look at what Cooper Kupp did last year, it just gives you a hope for a guy like Woods, especially since they traded Cooks. So that gives up that target share for him, and that gives him that position to go up top and be that playmaker. So I do like Woods there. I love his upside. I love his potential. And boom, there goes Cup right there. So it's a tough pick. I also like Cortland Sutton that just went. I like the wide receiver out of Seattle, Lockett, and I also like um, DK Metcalf. I like DK Metcalf a lot this year. Oof. But here we go.
Few.
So
Overall, yeah, I'd love to see who. Oh, Kyler Murray.
overall, it got us with some wide receivers and quarterbacks. This is again why the value of taking the running back so early gives you all these wide receivers later on that you can take where you can get them in a good position and you're not reaching to grab a running back. Where if right here I need a running back, then I got to reach up and get one of these guys. Where you know what? I like some of them, but I'm not in love with some of them. And it's going to be
The
interesting.
value of a running back as the top draft is almost like it's almost every single draft I have ever done, I've always gone running back, and so I'm sure really from that standpoint, I think that's what most people stick to, running back and quarterback, unless you got like Mahomes or somebody like that.
No. You want to stay away from a quarterback early. You
Well,
don't
I
want to take.
understand.
You
I'm
don't want to
saying
take a quarter.
from what I've seen. I'm just saying from what I've seen that some people went on early in some of the drafts that we did.
Yeah,
They were Mahomes was going so early.
yeah.
I'm
I
not
agree.
necessarily saying that those are the right calls. I'm just saying that from
I agree.
running back is what I've always stuck to, and I think that, like you're saying, I think those are some good, valid points with
Yeah,
with.
and in some in for a lot of cases, one thing I gotta say about when you're drafting, in those situations or when you're just drafting in general, you can't necessarily go by like, okay, first pick I got to take a running back.
Yeah,
In certain situations, it's like what's the opportunity cost? Who's better? Like Michael Thomas
right,
at a certain point.
but in this case, we picked on the 14th spot, and we still went with a running back.
Well, that's
So
because we didn't see a guy like Michael Thomas or Devontae Adams there. Where if I had seen one of those guys there, then I would take them over a Jacobs. So it
But
really just depends on what the board is.
realistic pick approach, right? Like you're saying, unless you're really getting like a high value guy, which is
Right.
it's probably
Right.
usually those guys go top five, top
Right.
six.
But that's also why you see certain one of those guys like Adams and Thomas, they will go before some of the running backs. It just depends on what running back and where, because you know that because I like guys like Montgomery. I like guys like Ingram. I still like these guys.
Right.
And it depends on the count. Like if I'm sitting there at like let's say 5 or 6, Michael Thomas is number one wide receiver, and I'm probably going to take him there over taking some of the other running backs. I'd probably take a Michael Thomas over a Zeke, to be honest, because of the fact that Michael Thomas, I believe, has such a great point production over there, and that I'm at the point in the draft where I can take a running back with my second and third pick. What happened?
You would take Michael Thomas over Zeke?
Because that offense in Dallas, that offense. Well, last year Michael Thomas in full point PPR outscored him, and I'm pretty sure in half point PPR outscored him. Michael Thomas put up a historic season. He had the most catches ever.
But remember what you just said about that line, historic season. How many of those do you really can you really output? So I understand. From the standpoint of going
Sure.
off of your work history and what you've done.
Right.
But
Well, you also got to understand this.
Workhorses, man.
This
They
is
almost guarantee a solid performance every game, right? So not a solid performance, but at least
right.
a good performance to get you the consistent points.
Right.
And if you're that high up, I almost don't give up a pick to like a wide receiver.
See, again, it just depends on the running back because I can understand an argument where you take Zeke over Thomas, okay, but would you take Derrick Henry over Michael Thomas?
I think I take Derrick Henry.
Ooh, I wouldn't even come
Yeah.
close to that.
Huh?
I wouldn't even come close to that.
No.
Just because of the fact that Derrick Henry doesn't catch the passes, he'll get some touchdowns, but I think the upside on the points on Michael Thomas to me is too great. Where I would take him now, Dalvin Cook or Michael Thomas. I would probably look at Michael Thomas because I think the injury history with Dalvin Cook scares me. I'd rather let someone else pay for that. Let them be right. I'll take a more secure bet. I'll take my risks later on.
Yeah.
But
And
you
and,
know,
and again, you got to understand that it's from the perspective of you have a lot more experience when it comes down to the
no,
fantasy.
and I think that those are the perfect questions. Like when they come up to actually spend some time on them, because a lot of people have that thought process, and I think that's the major thing that if we want to get anything across is just when you're in these positions and when you have these picks and what's going on, how do you think about it? Where would you go? How do you value these guys? Because this is what you need to think about when you're making your picks. So you're not putting yourself in a box. So in the fifth, sixth round, you're jumping for guys that you shouldn't be jumping for, where you can fall into value and get a better overall point per scoring team. And I think that's the biggest thing about football that people don't remember. It's not about sometimes who's the best player, but who works to get the most points total for your team. Putting
Right.
that puzzle together, knowing like I can get this wide receiver late, or I like this running back late, or this tight end is the guy, or that quarterback's the guy. So like when we look right here and we see our team, we have 4 picks in. We have 2 running backs, we have 2 wide receivers. Okay, we don't have any quarterback, we don't have any tight end, we don't have any flex spots. So when we look over here, who's available at tight end, we have Tyler Higbee, who we were talking about, but that puts us with 2 people on the Rams right now, 2 pass catchers at that. When we look down here, I like a guy like Hayden Hurts later on, maybe doubling down and just being safe. But I like Evan Ingram here. I think his upside at the tight end position, I think with being on the Giants, who should probably be down in a lot of games because they've lost a lot of their cornerbacks, which means they're possibly going to be a lot of shootouts. I like his upside here. So I'm going to take a guy like Evan Ingram here to get my tight end. I fully plan on getting a backup tight end later in this draft because I know Evan Ingram has an injury history and there's a possibility that he could be out. That's the only reason why he's this late. So I'm definitely going to be thinking about that in mind as I get into my bench spots. Okay. But now going forward, all I need is quarterback and flex. So when we look at the all players available,
So
I
this is
see,
71 overall, and wow, look, Kyler Murray's still on the board.
yep. And then when we look at who's the quarterbacks available, it's Murray, it's Watson, it's Allen, it's Ryan. Okay.
Oh,
So what
I like Allen in that particular spot.
you don't like
Um,
Allen?
but in this spot, would you? I mean, this is 71th overall. I think for that level, I think that he's a solid pick on that one, unless of course, there's another good running back on the board for
See
flex.
now here's where my dilemma comes in. I look at these quarterbacks. I see Murray. I can start Watson. I could start Allen. I can start Ryan. I'm interested in because I have Ridley, so I get a stack out of him. So now he becomes someone that I'd be willing to start just for stack purposes. And then let's see. Let's go cheat sheet. So because I get a bigger list. High drafted. Show me quarterbacks. All right. And then there's still Wentz. There's still Rodgers. There's still Jones. There's still Stafford. I
True,
still see quarterbacks on the board.
very
All right.
true.
So
Very true.
I'm not ready to jump on Murray yet, even though I think he has the potential to have a really good season. I'm not ready to jump on him quite yet. I just want to see one other thing here. Let me go over to Flex, who they have ranked overall. They have an AJ Green, who, in case one of our wide receivers doesn't hit, would be able to hold us down. Same thing with a Julian Edelman. Kareem Hunt is interesting to me because he could be a good pass catcher this year.
Right.
He also, in case Chubb goes down, becomes an automatic top running back. We can have him in the flex spot. He also covers a bye, but he has the same bye as Sanders. So that puts us in a situation where I have to take him out of the running just because of his bye week. Um,
A
with the
lot, a lot of reasons I've had issues in some drafts in the past.
yep, so,
Looking at when your running backs match in bye weeks, so huge. I remember losing a week, and I know we do a lot of at least the league that we have specifically. I'm talking about head to head. And I mean, it's just your top guys. When you got guys that if you're playing your secondary running back, it's almost like you're really hoping for one of your your wide receivers to have a tremendous night, or your quarterback to have a tremendous night, or even your kicker, right?
Yep.
It just
No, for real.
depends. But if you're taking those guys out of the equation and they're both your top guys are on a bye week, I mean, it's so huge. And in the past, I never looked at that, like from them being your top guys. And again, I know this may sound like to people who are already big time up there. Just keep in mind that it's coming from two sides of the scope, right? Two sides of the coin. We're going from, excuse me, from a particular expert's opinion. Coming from Taco, who's had several years of success in fantasy, and somebody like myself,
Championships,
who,
baby.
yeah.
Championships.
All right, let's not get too hyped on ourselves.
Beating undefeated teams.
Okay, all
Just,
right, yeah. But from that standpoint, and yeah, credit where it's due. I got you. And then somebody like myself was more novice. I really put myself on more on a beginner level. Yes, I'd have had some good performances, but never won one. So I'm really just kind of really coming into shape now with some of these things that we're looking at strategy wise, and they've been helpful. They've been helpful. I mean, it's really helped me climb tremendously. So I would say I'm more a little bit above beginner than now, but
yeah, you were in the championship in my league. So that and my league is definitely filled with some competitive people.
absolutely.
Definitely we're gonna be chronicling what goes down in my league. I'm gonna try to have all the guys in there this year. Just so that we're all facing each other. One, you can kind of get a perspective of what our teams look like, what's going on. The year before, I was going undefeated into the playoffs, and I lost to Ricky.
Your amazing performances.
No,
We'll have
I lost to Ricky in the first round of the playoffs that I had, and then I came back the next year and won the championship. It's been a very competitive league,
it,
and I really look forward to actually showing some of the guys the battles in there. It has my own custom scoring in it, so it's completely something that I've kind of concocted because I'm in this fantasy game. What can I say?
yeah, awesome.
But back to the draft, I think that it's pretty clear here. AJ Green's upside, even though we know that the experts are down in him.
I don't think
It
do some.
what happened?
They have a rookie quarterback, so for
I
me,
mean, they don't have just a rookie quarterback. They had the Heisman Award winning rookie quarterback, Joe Burrows. Okay.
I understand, and everybody is really high on Joe Burrows, and everybody's. But I just allow me to have a year where somebody just proves it. It's just too many people like who's that Cleveland success story. Oh yeah, that's right. Many number one pick quarterbacks who have been um, you know, who have been they've been proclaiming that are gonna be great, and then they have a not great season. So I don't know. I'm not saying Burrows is gonna be not amazing. I just think that just let him have 1 year in the league. And yes, AJ Green's great, so that'll be a target for him. So
Yep. Plus, also, let's look at it like this: he's in the one, two, three. Excuse me. He was the sixth pick. So it's not or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, he was the sixth pick. So normally you were paying like a first, a second,
yeah,
or a
yeah.
third pick for him. To get him at 6 off an injury year, I'll take it. I'll take it.
For
I can get good rebound.
AJ, you saying?
What happened?
For AJ Green, you said?
Yep.
Yeah, no, I agree. What do you
And
think
then
about Lindsey? Do you think they're really gonna is Lindsey gonna be really the featured back, or is he gonna
no,
be the
he's going to
back?
be the complimentary to Melvin Gordon.
Okay.
They had just gone out and paid Melvin Gordon, and you're not going to pay a guy to keep him on the bench. So he's going to be the guy.
Right.
This
I
is
just
halfway.
he's had some good. He's put up some numbers.
Yeah, but I don't know why, but they're just not in love with him over there.
Yeah.
So when I'm looking at this point in the draft, there's still some quarterbacks here. I see this guy called Drew Brees, who I know a lot of people be like, "Oh, how are you going to pass on Drew Brees? Drew Brees is a Hall of Famer. Drew Brees is this good quarterback. Drew
Good thing
Brees for
Eminem's not
fantasy
drafting,
football
right?
stinks. What happened?
I said good thing Eminem's not drafting, right?
Right. But I'll tell you this: Drew Brees for a fantasy quarterback stinks. And last year he stunk. You know why he stunk? Because you had a guy called what's his face? Oh my God, Taysom Hill. And Taysom Hill would come in with these ridiculous plays and start doing all sorts of stuff. And then all of a sudden, Drew Brees is not only losing out at goal line running back, or goal line running back situations, but then he's also losing in red zone situations where they want to bring a guy in for chick.
I agree.
So,
And Hill got paid too.
yeah. So I just don't like that situation. I don't trust that situation. That situation is nothing I'm interested in. And knowing that at this point in the draft, a lot of people already have quarterbacks, and I see the guys that are on the board, I'm going to wait on quarterback. I'm going to wait. I'm not going to take a quarterback here. Okay.
What do you like?
So what I like here, I like two of the guys I have at the top. I like Crowder and I like Breida. Now, it has Breida or Crowder with being a ADP of 133, which is crazy. When you look at his experts consensus rank in 99, puts us right around here. I don't want to chance him coming out full well knowing that the Jets this year are going to be having to pass since they've lost so many players in the defensive end. And Miami, Breida has a chance to be the number one running back. So I'm going to take a guy that has a potential upside to be the number one running back. And then let me just double check the wide receivers before I pull the plug on a Crowder. Oh my God. Henry Ruggs is going to be playing out of the slot this year. He's definitely someone with the next pick that I'm going to be looking at. Same thing with me, Cole Hardman. I like Curtis Samuel this late. I like N'Keal Harry this late. I like Lazard. So these are some guys that I do like a little bit later. So this way I can make sure that I have that another pass catcher. Let me just double check running backs. Make sure there's no one here that I really want. Matituck I like, but he's a backup. There's nothing but backups left. So we right now have 3 running backs. I kind of would have liked to have another one. That means you're probably going to take one of the high upside running backs a little bit later on, just to have one on the team. I think right here we're going to definitely go wide receiver. I think we go. I like Tate. I like Crowder. I like both of them. I just think that Crowder is less to compete with, which gives him more an opportunity for a larger target share, which gives him the spot that I want. Oh, my God. They just took a whole bunch of quarterbacks. Oof. Oh, my God. And there goes Ruggs.
Yep.
Oof. Maybe I might be subbing out Ruggs for Crowder in future drafts, just based on what I've seen and how I feel about Ruggs.
Yeah.
I'm gonna maybe have to move Ruggs up a little bit more. Once they announced that he's playing out of the slot, that means he has the opportunity to get a lot of catches. And with his upside on speed, he ran like a 4.2 40. He's like Tyreek Hill speed. So yeah, that's someone that's interesting.
What do you like here?
So here, now that all the quarterbacks have gone off the board.
Cam. Oh gosh, Baker.
Joey B.
Zero
Joey B.
Zero percentage.
So I would tell you this: the way it's setting up for quarterbacks is I'm going to play the matchups, and I'm going to have 2 on my team. That's more than likely how this is going to go. These bastards took my guy. They took Danny Dimes.
Oh my goodness! You were gonna go that far. You were gonna reach that low for him.
That low. Danny Dimes is already gone. I slow played Danny Dimes and they took him on me. David, do you know they took Danny Dimes? Danny Dimes is gonna be a baller this year. I'm out on Front Street. I know all these Giant fans don't believe in Danny Dimes, right. But you got to give this kid a little bit of time to shine. And I think you're going to see that he's put in the work, that he has the skills.
He's got to prove it. That turnover.
Last year he put up numbers. Last year he put up numbers.
Listen, the turnovers have got to come down. It's about numbers coinciding with wins.
You're right, but guess what? He can't play defense, and the defense was bad last year.
Okay, so
how are you going to put that on Danny Dimes?
Listen, at the end of the day, if you have a high-powered offense, that can overcome a bad defensive game. So,
right. And I will say this: last year, in weeks 18 through 17, Danny Dimes had 269 Passing yards per game. Danny Dimes had 18 touchdowns to 5 interceptions, and Danny Dimes had a passer rating of 95.4.
You say
I
week 18?
week 8 to 17, the
All
second
right.
half of the season. So for the second half of the season, and remember, Eli Manning started the year. So let's keep all that in mind. So knowing that Danny Dimes is off the board, who I would take over Roethlisberger, who I would take over Stafford, who I would take over Newton, and everyone else on this board, okay, it just means I'm probably going to take a guy like Matt Stafford, who had a pretty good year last year, playing in the.
He's so injury prone though.
He is injury prone, but at this point in time, I'm going to be taking. See, look, let's also remember that Ryan, Minshew, and Jones had amazing runs too. He does have fringe QB1 upside. I just feel like at this point of the draft, knowing that I don't have Danny Dimes to fall back on, I want to get someone that can have potential a one upside, someone that has some good weapons. He has Galladay, he has Marvin Jones, he has Johnson at running back. So I'm gonna take a guy Stafford right here, just so that I get a quarterback on the board. I'm probably gonna end up going with a guy like Ryan Tannehill a little bit later. See, getting Stafford this late is a steal, full well knowing that I stacked up everywhere else, have backups everywhere else. Although my week 11 situation is horrible, I'm buyed out. But that's fine. Running backs, I can probably still wait another round for a running back. Wide receiver, I have a lot of receivers now, so I'm not necessarily having to jump for one. Knowing right now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bench spots. I think that one of the bench spots that like I said before, I want to make sure that I lock down is tight end. When we look at the tight ends right here, there's not that many left. Hayden Hurst was a guy that I was talking about. I was targeting before because Matt Ryan lost Hooper, so now he's gonna get those targets there. So I'm going with the guy Hayden Hurst. Double down on tight end just in case something happens. And again, look, Hayden Hurst was a value pick as well from where we were. I'd rather double down on someone like that and then get a running back a little bit later on with upside, although I doubt my guys might be there still.
A lot of guys win defense here.
Yeah, that won't be me.
Yeah.
I think that this is the case where now I'm going to be looking at guys that are in situations where they may not be the starting running back, but they have an opportunity to possibly be the starting running back. Okay.
Man, they're full of suggestions on quarterbacks, or are we in the quarterback category?
We're in the quarterback category. So Boston Scott, I mean, he's interesting because he would back up Miles Sanders. He's someone that's interesting, but I just can't see spending the pick there. Let's see who else. Edmonds is interesting. Peterson could possibly be the lead back. Let's go back to cheat sheets. Let's look at running back. I think for my money, I'm going to go with a guy like Carlos Hyde, full well knowing that last year there was a guy by the name of Chris Carson who was the lead running back who always would get the ire of the coaching staff because he would put the ball on the ground. He would fumble so many times. And this year, I know that Penny's coming off of injury, and they still believe in Carson. But I just think if anything happens, he has a shot to be the starting running back. And running backs for Pete Carroll do really well. That's a good offense, and I don't mind taking a share of that, knowing what's going on here. Okay. These wide receivers, I'm just not in love with. We have, and we only have to start 2 wide receivers, and we have 1, 2, 3 wide receivers, 4 wide receivers. So I think I may just sit good on wide receivers for now. Maybe take a guy a little bit later on, who's there. Let's take a look at the quarterback. Okay, so they have Roethlisberger, Newton, Tannehill, Mayfield.
Just get
What happened?
Didn't he Roethlisberger just get surgery?
But Roethlisberger did have surgery, but he is back. He says he feels healthy, he feels young, he feels spry. It should be a good offense over there in Pittsburgh, and especially if he's healthy, he has an opportunity to put up points. Cam Newton has that same opportunity as well. But like they said, they don't even know if he's going to start. So how can you invest sometimes in him? Tannehill just got paid, and he had a great season last year, great second half. Joe Burrow has a ton of upside as a young rookie. Cousins is a consistent veteran.
So who do you like here? Because
I think I'm going to go with Tannehill here, despite me really liking Burrow and Cousins. Those guys will be guys that I'll monitor on the waiver wire. But when you take a quarterback later on in the draft, like we did, like Stafford, we want to back him up just in case they get hurt.
Over Cam, I mean, I think Cam is going to start.
I mean, we think he's going to start, but do we know right now? No. I mean, as we get closer, I'm gonna know more. But
I think Cam is going to go much higher than a mock draft like this.
Who?
Because Cam.
I mean, honestly, I think there's a very good chance that Ryan Tannehill outscores Cam even if Cam starts.
True that.
Ryan Tannehill's second half last year when he finally started from Marcus Mariota was so ridiculous. They actually paid him money. They actually gave him money. So that's something. And you got to remember, the Titans went all the way to, I think, the conference championships. They were playing versus the Chiefs to go to the Super Bowl.
King Henry had a lot to do with that.
Who?
Henry.
Yeah, but so did A.J. Brown and Tannehill. They went off. Tannehill and A.J. Brown went off. That's why A.J. Brown right now is going in the top 15 receivers.
And 91-yard runs. And, I mean, Henry had a ridiculous playoff.
Henry had a ridiculous playoffs, yes. And he had a ridiculous season, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So,
but Tannehill, for scoring purposes last year, he was producing as a QB1 over that stretch. I'll pull up the exact numbers and I'll post it inside. Or we'll do a player profile on Tannehill because I feel like that's a great thing to do.
Our posts on Twitter and on Instagram, we'll post something up on there.
Yeah, I think we'll probably end up doing a whole thing on some of these quarterbacks because what you bring up is an interesting question that a lot of people are going to have as they're drafting. So now rounding it out, we only have 4 more picks and 2 are going to be defense and kicker. So we're pretty much almost there. At this point in the draft, a lot of people were like, well, why don't you just grab a kicker and a defense? Well, because in most of the cases, I'm going to play the waiver wire for them. I'm going to play matchups. I'm going to drop and add guys based on what's going on since I didn't take any of the top guys. And I'm going to go for a player that I think has the potential to be really solid and possibly give me some, upside down the road. So when I look here, I see Jonnu Smith has some upside. I don't really want a quarterback, so let's see what they have here. Running backs. Nope. Malcolm Brown, nope. Benny Snell, nope. Jalen Richard. I mean, Jalen Richard is interesting because he's a pass catcher, and we have Jacobs. So it gives us a handcuff there. And full well knowing that this is a deeper draft, it makes sense for me to handcuff him here. Okay, I just want to be safe, not sorry.
Right.
That's why I take him here because a lot of these guys don't have upside. So when you take a guy like that, he's protection.
Right.
Okay? And then with this next pick,
at the backup immediately.
Yep, exactly. And then with this next pick, there's a lot of opportunity. First, we'll take a look at kickers. Oh, okay. Hello.
I like Harrison because I mean he's going to get a lot of point opportunity with that high powered offense.
Yep. Same thing with Tucker in both.
Yeah,
I like them both. But I just I want a piece of that Kansas City offense, and boom, that's why I take the kicker there because now I'm not picking a kicker up every week. I'm just going with the kicker. And you know what this sets me up for? This sets me up for possibly taking. Oh man, they took Burrow too. Jesus. Oh well, I was gonna say it set me up for possibly taking 3 quarterbacks, but that's gone.
Yeah.
Lego. Well, it's just something interesting to look at because I could really play matchups. Because at this point in the draft, I can go by who just every week who has the best matchup at
Yep.
quarterback. And then when you look at the team setup, it's like, okay, beast, 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 beast. Everyone will be a beast and a starter, and then you're starting a quarterback who has a great matchup every week. To me, that's a great upside. I love that type of play. But let's see what else we got. Doyle's interesting.
I like Doyle. Is he starting?
If we know anything about Rivers, it's that he throws to the tight end a bit. Doyle appears the beneficiary of the Colts signing him, merely number 18. So they're hating on him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but let's see who else is there. Chris Herndon, Eric Ebron. Oh, Eric Ebron. Isn't that interesting? Eric Ebron was talking about how he would be a top half tight end on Twitter. He was going at everyone saying that he's better than 85% of these people that are being drafted above him. He's now with the Pittsburgh Pirates. I mean Pirates. He's with the Pittsburgh Steelers. If 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 Roethlisberger is healthy, that's interesting. But I don't know. I forgot if they still have Vance McDonald there. Because if they do have Vance McDonald there, then I don't necessarily want him. So for that, I'm gonna have to do further research. That's something that I'll double down on and get you guys information with. At this point in the draft, I'm gonna take another tight end because I can always play them in the flex. I'm gonna go with the guy. He has huge upside over in Dallas. It's gonna be a high-powered offense, but we're gonna go with Blake Jarwin. Okay, and then you just have one pick left, and that's the defense. And defensively, we're gonna go with the Seahawks, who just got Jamal Adams. Because guess what? Who cares? I'm gonna probably drop him anyway. So let's see where we ended, huh? Where's my grade? Oh, it's finished. A C.
See,
That is my
almost,
worst draft
almost,
grade I've seen.
you
What?
almost
Why
got,
would they give me a C?
you almost guaranteed a B, or you did, and you got a
Yeah,
C.
this,
Um,
this is a low one.
I think that a lot of that goes into, it's early on. There's a lot of things that I think made a lot of sense in where we drafted. So really, from the perspective of the grade, it's all hypothetical, right? Because you don't know specifically, um, where some of these players are going
I
to
mean,
lie. I like the draft. I like the spot. The 14 spot was a good spot to draft from. So we'll see. And we'll see. I mean, that's
yeah,
that lineup, guys. I mean, definitely. I think you made some
and
good.
yeah, I mean, I definitely think so too, and I think that part of the reason why that they're giving this draft such a low grade is that they're probably definitely, if you see just based on the way the rankings were, down on Ridley, down on Woods, and then when you're looking at the flex, Breida, he
Yeah,
should be the starting back in Miami, but again, we don't know technically what that offense is going to bring, so that adds to some of the point discrepancy. But they probably are down. They were down on Miles because they did have Jacobs and a lot of guys under Miles. So I can understand why. I definitely bucked the experts on a bunch of the picks. And went with the lower guy. But I'll be honest with you, I love this team. If I had to go to war with this team in a 16-team league, I am loving it. When you look at the guys here, Stafford, Sanders, Jacobs, Ridley, Woods, Ingram, Green, Breida. We got a backup wide receiver. We got some backup tight ends that could even play flex if they ball out. But I also see that there's not a lot of depth here. So in this kind of a team, if we have a running back that gets hurt and Breida doesn't live up, it could be a little bit of a tough situation going into that second half where you're really going to rely on the wire to get running backs. But again, it's a 14-team league. I personally like the team. I'm high on a guy like Ridley. I'm high on a guy like Woods. I'm high on a guy like Jacobs and Sanders. So for me, I'm happy with the team. But, you know, I failed on my promise, guys, and I'm sorry about that.
Didn't deliver on the B, but here's the thing, guys. That to me looked like a solid team, and really that was from the 14th spot, and really what to do with what the board gave up, and really we've been strong on that. Just kind of take what the board
Yep.
gives you. Really look down sometimes on some players, and even when you look down, you might get some steals. I think Taco
Yep.
showed that in this particular draft. There was a couple steals from the standpoint of expert consensus rating,
But
but
then there was a bunch that we went above, so it kind of beyond balanced itself out. I
yeah.
think before everything's said and done, we're gonna do another one from the 14th spot, just because I know I'm gonna stroke out that A. So
You see that he can't have anything less than a B because he's not going to be happy until he gets that B. But we'll
and
definitely.
not only am I not going to be happy till I get that B, I'm not going to be happy until I help you guys win your leagues. Because let's face it, drafts are coming up in a month. There's a lot of things going on between COVID, position battles,
Yeah,
changes in teams that you know what? It's hard to keep up with everything. But that's why you have us. That's why you like, subscribe, share, subscribe to us, because we're going to make sure we keep that information coming. We keep you updated. If you follow us on IG and Facebook, you see in their stories, we're posting updates from Twitter from all the different beat writers from around the league, just to make sure that you guys stay updated and informed. And you know what? So you guys can win your league, because that's
yeah.
what it's about.
There's a lot more things coming, guys. There's a lot more things that you'll
Yep.
continue to see as the channel continues to grow. We've had a lot of things that we've been working on from our end, and really we're full steam ahead on trying to help you guys win some of those leagues.
Yep.
Definitely stay tuned to a lot of the draft position spots that we're going to do. And then, as Taco was saying, a lot of the beat writer reporting, we're really trying to stay up to date for you guys and what's important and who you're going to draft and who you're not going to draft, and also what's going around in the league. Because as sports are coming back, I think it's important for us to give you guys some up to date information on there so we can get some normalcy back, in our life.
Mm-hmm.
But with that being said, guys, come back and check us out for the next draft. Definitely, we're going to be doing a couple more, and then we're also going to be doing a little bit of some UFC Stipe fight. So there's a lot more coming in store for sports for you guys. So check us out at the Daily Sporting, all over the place, Twitter, YouTube. We really appreciate some YouTube love because that's kind of slowly trickling up. Facebook, you guys have been very supportive. 100% appreciate all you guys on that. So come back and check us out. Have a good rest of your day, guys.
Yep. And shout out to the IG fam. We love y'all too.